I personally love that Citizen are becoming an enthusiast brand. They have a lot of watches that they made in the past that they are reissuing. However, they're coming out with watches that are basically brand new designs. Today, we're taking a look at something that is a reissue. It's a reissue of a full calendar watch. This gets a day, date, and month, and it also gets a Moonphase. So let's take a hands-on look at one of Citizen's latest releases, a full calendar watch that's affordable. So this is actually a reissue of a watch that they did, I believe it was in the 2000s. It's the Calendrier. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think I'm not actually, because I believe it is a French word, and you guys know I'm not very good with that. However, this is a very interesting watch. It has a lot of layers, and it's a full calendar. That's obviously, the name is inspired by that. So you do have a Moonphase as well. It's really hard to spot. There's a little window right there at the 6 o'clock. That's the Moonphase. Up at the top, you have a sub dial that is dedicated to just the date. So you have a pointer date. On the left sub dial, you have the day. So that's the day of the week. And then on the right sub dial, you have the month. The month is controlled by a pusher right over here. It's one of those hidden pushers that you have to use a toothpick for. And then everything else is basically controlled from the crown. In one direction, it controls that date at the 12 o'clock position. And then in the other direction, it controls that Moonphase. The handset is loomed. There are indices. There's a blue portion of the dial. It's really almost a multi-layered dial. So that first layer is the two sub-dials at the 9 and the 3 o'clock position, that day and month. So that's the bottom of the dial. A step up from that, you're getting that Moonphase. There's a black portion. The next layer is that blue portion. You have the applied indices. You have the Moonphase. There's a little black area down at the bottom of the dial. And then above that, just a little bit above that, you have the date. The date has a silver track, and there is a very large counterbalance on the hand that points to the date. You also have a very large counterbalance on the second hand. It's a very long needle seconds hand with a very large circle counterbalance. A very elegant looking watch. They were definitely going for an elegant look with this watch. This is the blue version. They make a salmon version, and I believe they are making an all gold version, so a PVD coated gold. I think that one's probably the most expensive. This is the blue version, so you are getting a blue bezel, a multi-link bracelet. I'm not sure if they're offering this on a strap currently, because on their website they're currently not showing that, so I don't believe you are getting one, but you are getting 100 meters of water resistance, a sapphire crystal, and of course this is eco-drive, so it is solar. That dial, that very complicated layered dial, is actually a solar panel, which is pretty cool when you think about it, that they could actually make that a solar panel that could absorb enough energy to power a watch that has a lot of complications. I really am always impressed with eco-drive watches because they can do so much with them. They can make ultra thin watches, and they can make more complicated watches like this. I think it's really cool. You have these very large crown guards that surround the crown, really protecting the crown there. And it's around a 40 millimeter watch, but if you include those crown guards, it comes out to around a 42 millimeter watch. It's a thin watch. It comes out to around 11 millimeters thick. That's including the sapphire crystal, which sits just slightly above that bezel, and it has a lug-to-lug of 49 and change, so it's like 49.1 millimeters, but if you include the male end links on the bracelet, it's around 52 and change. So it will wear large. Those lugs are pretty long, so it is a 40 millimeter watch with those crown guards, and of course those male end links. It's going to wear like a 41 millimeter watch on your wrist, and I'll show you it on my wrist in just a few minutes. The bracelet, like I said, is a multi-link bracelet. You are getting a butterfly clasp, and it is polished and brushed. So there is middle links down the middle. Those are polished. Right outside of that, they are brushed, and on the outside of the bracelet, the links on the outside of the bracelet are all polished. So it's sort of alternating between polished and brushed. It still looks very blingy because there is a lot of polish going on. When you look at the case side, you are also getting polish. So this is definitely a dress watch. They are going for something a little bit more flashy here, but It's not that crazy. I don't think it's all that crazy. The bezel is matte finish, so it's not that blingy. And then you have polishing again on top of the lugs and those crown guards. So, if you don't like a polished watch, it's probably not the one for you, but it's not all that crazy. Like I said, it doesn't really stand out all that much. Before we show it on wrist, I do want to talk about the dial a little bit more. That Moonphase, very small at the 6 o'clock position. There is a little lens above it, so it sort of magnifies it just a little bit, but that's internal on the dial, and it's controlled by the crown. That subdial for the date is really nice. You have a little bit of a pattern on there. It's a texture as well. It says Citizen, and then there is, of course, that ring that has all of the dates on there. That looks really good, and that sits on that blue portion of the dial. The two sub registers for the day and the month, you have a little silver surround. There's a little, it's not a screw, it's really like a cap that sits where the hands would sit for those sub registers, and those registers are just discs. So basically it says Friday on the day indicator, and you can see that index at 9 o'clock has a little point to it, and that is pointing to Friday. Same thing goes for the month. You have a little arrow, basically that 3 o'clock index pointing to the month. Cool idea, and I think it looks really good and doesn't clutter up the dial because this is already a very cluttered dial, so you want to keep it as simple as possible. Speaking of simple as possible, today I have on probably one of the more complicated watches that I have. This is a diving tourbillon from Angelus. It is a 300-meter tourbillon with a skeletonized movement in grade 5 titanium. Video for this should be up on my YouTube channel right now. So if it is, I will put a link up above. Definitely check out the video on this. Really cool watch in the family here because this is a Citizen brand. It is owned by Citizen, and Angelus makes some pretty awesome watches. They basically operate independent of Citizen, but they are under the Citizen umbrella and are made by Le Jouperet. And there it is on my 7.5-inch wrist. Like I was saying before, this is 11 millimeters thick, so it does wear pretty close to the wrist, and it's around a 40 millimeter watch, but if you include those crown guards, it comes out to around 41 millimeters, I would say. I would say it wears like a 41 millimeter watch in my opinion. You have a 49 millimeter lug to lug or thereabout, and then with that bracelet around 52 millimeters and change. So like I said, this will wear like a 41 millimeter on your wrist. Although I think visually it looks pretty good. I think it doesn't look big. I don't think it looks small at all. And I think it does look pretty complicated. When someone sees this on your wrist, they're going to be confused about what they're seeing because there is a good amount of stuff going on that dial. And I think it's very good looking, very symmetrical, the way that they did this. Not a lot of brands can achieve that. And there you go. Lume is pretty good here. There is no lume on the second hand. I would like to see a little bit of lume on a second hand because I like to see that my watch is working in the dark. Other than that, really no complaints with the lume. It's pretty decently applied with the lume, and technically this is a dress watch. It's a full calendar, 100 meters of water resistance with the sapphire crystal. You're getting big hands on here with lots of lume, and they are very bright, and all of those little indices are lumed as well. Really good job here. I really like what Citizen are doing. I say this every single time, but even when they come out with a watch like this, they think about it and give you a sapphire crystal 100 meters of water resistance, good lume, and you're getting a full calendar, and the price on this is $695. You're getting it on a bracelet. It's basically an everyday watch that you could wear that looks complicated, has eco-drive movement in it, very reliable, and you can go swimming with it. You could really pretty much do anything that you're going to encounter throughout the day with this watch on, and it's going to work. It's going to be fine. Really awesome. Very good looking, and I think pretty complicated for the price. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of what Citizen are doing lately? Constantly offering new watches and coming up with ideas and coming up with old watches and just reissuing them and doing a very faithful recreation of the original and offering something that really you can't find from other brands right now. There's no other watch brand out there offering a full calendar for $695. That's really symmetrical like this, and 100 meters of water resistance, and of course you get a sapphire crystal and all that good stuff. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. I will put a link to this watch down in the description below. Definitely check it out if you're interested. That's really it, guys. Thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.